is courage. And my topic today is in the service of my vision. In the service of my vision. That's actually part of one of my favorite quotes. It's a quote from a woman named Audre Lorde. And Audre Lorde passed away, I think, around 1984 or something like that. She was the poet laureate for the state of New York. Very strong, powerful woman. Very out, African-American lesbian, very out. And this particular quote of hers is right by my bed in this beautiful watercolor calligraphy that Light gave me a number of years ago. So it's been in my living room and other places. Now I wake up to it, I go to bed to it. There's another version of it with her standing as a photo that's in the staff bathroom. So every time I go in there, you know, people take reading material. I don't have to. I just look at that quote. And the quote is this, and it's in the affirmations. When I dare to be powerful, when I use my strength in the service of my vision, it becomes less and less important whether I am afraid. I want to say that again. When I dare to be powerful, and I love this definition of power, to use my strength in the service of my vision. When I dare to do that, it becomes less and less important whether I'm afraid. When I dare to be powerful, when I use my strength in the service of my vision, it becomes less and less important whether I'm afraid. And that gets coupled with my second favorite quote that I live my life by, which I got from Beckwith: pain pushes until vision pulls. Pain pushes until vision pulls. So it's my instruction to not be moved and motivated by life through pain, but by vision. And if I dare to use my strength in the service of that, not in the service of getting away from my pain, but in the service of using my strength for my vision, then I can just show up. And it matters less and less whether I'm afraid. We let fear stop us. We let fear paralyze us. But I'm telling you now, if you're living a life where you're not feeling any fear, you're playing way too small. You've taken comfort zone to a whole nother level. You have taken comfort zone to a whole other level. We needn't have so much fear, but we're wired that way. We're wired that way. From the reptilian brain. Now, we have more evolved aspects in our brain to use that can override that, but the reptilian brain associates anything different or change with danger. It needs life very, very predictable so it knows what to do. Okay? If I see something that's moving over here, the tree is moving, I don't know what that's about. So I get on high alert. If it's my reptilian brain, could be danger over there. That's not the time to think about it. That's not to contemplate the meaning of life. Could be a bear. Could be a bunny rabbit. But your reptilian brain isn't going to take the chance. So it's going to respond to everything like it's the bear, just in case. Did you feel what I'm saying? That's that survival mechanism. That's what happens to us. We get a little frightened by something, particularly when it seems to be unknown. That reptilian brain jumps in there and whoop, off the chart. Protection. Something's wrong, something's bad. Take it to the But isn't it good that we're human beings with greater capacities? Isn't that good that we don't have to be Neanderthal? Isn't that good? Yes? That we have evolved, that we have discernment, that we have power, that we have capacities, that we have choice, that life is not just happening at us. We have agency. We have agency. We have capacity. It says in Scripture that we were not given a spirit of fear. In the book of Romans, that fear, we may have it, but it isn't who we are. We haven't been given the spirit of that. And this fear is really technically cowardice or timidity. That as human beings, that's not our DNA. It's a response reaction, but it's not who we are. It says we have been given the spirit of power. Power. Not power over anything, but an agency. In Greek, dunamis. Dunamis. Which is the pure capacity to do. Listen to what I'm saying. That we haven't been given a spirit of fear. We have been given a spirit of a capacity to do. It says a spirit of power and of love. Not just the emotional thing, but the agapeo love, the oneness love, the interconnectedness with love. The fact that I'm one with you, not because I like you, I'm one with you in spite of the fact that I don't like you. That's our spirit. We've been given a spirit of power, of love, and a sound mind. It says in the King James Version, but it's really self-discipline. Self-discipline, that agency, that capacity to use your power out of love. That's who we are. We aren't been given the spirit of fear. There were so many times when Jesus said, be not afraid. Be not afraid. And you hear me speak of this sometimes. The New Testament is in Greek, the earliest translations of it. And the verb tense that's used there, we don't have in English, which is a present imperative, which means a command to do something in the future, continuous and repeated. Be not afraid. And when it's in the negative not, that means it's already been taking place. It's like if your mama says, girl, don't lie to me. Okay? That's saying you better think really, really, really closely about what's about to come out your mouth. Don't even think about trying to get away with something in the future. And come on now, this is due notice. I already know you've been lying. And I'm giving you a chance to correct it. Don't lie to me. Are you with me? Okay. So we don't have a verb tense that lets you know that it's in the tonality, but you get it. This be not afraid. Don't be afraid now. Don't be afraid in the future. And stop being afraid. Now, interestingly enough, in Scripture, there's 4 times when Jesus says this, be not afraid. And 3 of the times, he's talking to his own disciples. Now, from a metaphysical standpoint, that's really, really important. Because these 12 disciples represent the faculties of our mind: faith, love, strength, power. So if you can imagine this with me now, it's like Jesus is talking to himself. It's like we're talking to our own aspects of our own being and saying, don't be afraid. Courage, stop being afraid. Love within me, stop being afraid. Prosperity within me, stop being afraid. Okay? We can have fear, but don't be fear. I remember telling this story years ago, but it was when the message came, be not afraid, that's in your deepest intent. And it references some of this. I'm on a plane. I'm coming back from Washington, D.C. I gave the inaugural commencement address to Iyanla Van Zant's first ministerial graduating class. This was like circa maybe 2003 or something like that. She had been using my book, The Sacred Yes, for her class. In fact, it was Iyanla Van Zant that hooked me up with Sounds True, that republished it and continued with the series. So I kind of dozed off in the plane, and I'm sitting right by the wing. And this mantra about be not afraid had been working me. I don't know, like maybe 6 months. Like all throughout the day, there was just this mantra. So I fall asleep, and it's at night. You know, there's red lights that are along the wings of the plane. There was something about, I got startled, and there was something about the speed and the flicker of the lights. I thought the wing was on fire. I thought the wing was on fire. So I woke up, and needless to say, I started to panic. A little bit now, and I hear that spirit voice saying, be not afraid. And I go off. I don't do this anymore, but like God and I like had a little duke out in that moment. This is all happening in split seconds, right? And of course it's happening inside of me, this battle. And I'm saying to God, the plane is on fire! If there was ever a time to be afraid, don't you think this would be a good one? Are you kidding me? I was like, what do you mean be not afraid? The plane's on fire! And that voice said, it's okay to have fear, don't be fear. Listen to the difference. It's okay to have it, don't be it. I'm always bringing up the Spanish language at this moment because it's so instructive. You know, in Spanish you have ser, which is the verb of being. It's the I am this. But they have tener, which basically means to have. So in Spanish, it's not I am hungry, it's I have hunger. Okay? In Spanish, it's not I'm 20 years old, it's I have 20 years. You get it? I have it now and I won't. But the English language is constructed in such a way that you are what you have. This is deliberate. The English language is a colonistic language. It didn't even exist in biblical days. It's not a pure language. It is a mutt language. It has Latin roots and Greek roots and Old German and Old French, and it has all these roots, but it is a language that deliberately is constructed to create mental caste systems. And it is designed so that there's a beginning, a middle, and an end, as though there is a right way and an only way. It's not open-ended. If you take a language like Hebrew, for example, it's got nuance upon nuance upon nuance. It has numerology to it. It has gender to it. It has ways in which you can interpret it where you keep coming back to it and you get different layers in it. So that we change it around in English. Even something like in the beginning. It's not the way it is. It's like in beginning. Like beginning is something that is always taking place, and in Hebrew it's feminine. I remember learning that in ministerial school, and I thought, for 40 years I've been mad. For 40 years I've been mad at my fundamentalist Pentecostal roots for having an exclusively patriarchal God. And how in the world can you have all of creation come from male energy? Hello? But beginning is feminine. It's feminine. And so is the earth. We say Adam, but it's not Adam, it's Adam. Adam, which means a ruddy brownish color. It's really earth being. The Adam from the Adamah. Adamah is earth. The Adam is taken from the Adamah. It's feminine. It's feminine. Let us make man, quote unquote, humankind, in our image. Our likeness and image. One's masculine, one's feminine. There's something that's happening here. You can have it, but don't be it. When you have it, you can acknowledge it and let it go. If you are it, you can't change it. Are you with me? So in our English language, you are how much money you have. Are you with me? It's not a condition. It's even beyond a status. It's who you are. You are poor. You are rich. Okay? You are sick. You are an alcoholic. You are this. But they're states of being. Are you with me? They're states of being, and they're coming and they're going. So part of what it takes to have courage is to move up to that transcendent awareness where you're not living with the facts and the stuff of this world as though it is absolutely immutable. To take courage means that you are able to look out, see what is, even understand how it got to be that way, but not feel trapped by it. Not feel that it's bigger than you. We created all this drama. We created it. And that's not to say it in a shaming way, but what you create, you can uncreate. Can you feel that? That's why in 12-step programs, for example, and they want you to hit the bottom, so you get out of denial of blaming everybody else for where you are. And you have to get to that point and stand it and say, this is what I've been doing. This is who I am. Not to stay there. Not to stay there. But you can't change something you deny you have. You can't move from someplace you don't know where you are. And I don't care whether we're talking about alcoholism or racial supremacy or Christian supremacy or sexism or anything. I don't care what, imperialism, I don't care what we're talking about. You can't move from some place that you don't know you're standing. You can't move from it. You keep moving like this in it, around and around and around, but you can't shift from it unless you understand where you're standing. It's okay to be afraid. Don't let the fear stop you. You're afraid and you pierce through it anyway. Why do you pierce through it anyway? Because you know it doesn't have the last word. You pierce through it anyway because you know you are more than this. You are more than this. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. It's just a shadow. It's just a shadow. There's nothing even there. If you have an object and the light comes and hits it, the object could be 2 feet. The shadow it casts could be 30 feet. Are you with me? And we're looking at the shadows. We're looking at the shadows and think I've got this 30-foot thing. Big, old, dark thing that's looming over me and casting all the darkness upon me. And it's just something 2 feet you could kick over with courage. Listen to what I'm saying. The shadows are running rampant over this world right now. I will fear no evil. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. I won't fear it. I won't be it. I won't be immobilized by it. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is that makes a toddler get up after they fall. I don't know what that is. I don't know what makes that toddler go, you know what? I can pull myself up. Or the infant, I can flip myself over. I can crawl over here. I can crawl over there. They have a sense of agency. Are you with me? It's innate. It's in us. Am I saying that it should be without boundary? No. I'm not saying that that should be like unrestricted. But know that you have it so that you can direct it. We've stopped living like we have agency. We've stopped living like we have choice. Like we can make things happen. We're not powerless. We're not the victims of stuff. We're not. And you say, well, if I follow my vision or I follow my passion, this thing's going to happen or that thing's going to happen. So what? So what? I had to come to grips with that years ago. I'm going to die anyway. If I don't stand up for truth or justice, that doesn't mean I'm going to live forever. It doesn't mean that. Martin Luther King Jr. said everybody wants to live forever. Everybody wants to live long. But I never will forget this. He said, if by the age of 30, a man hasn't found something in life worth dying for, he could live till he's 80, but he'd have died a long time ago. And I always ask myself that, what's worth dying for? What's worth dying for? He used to always tell his entourage every day, whatever we do today needs to be worth dying for. He had a scar right above his heart where he had been stabbed at 29 at a book signing. Almost died. And that scar was almost in the shape of a cross right above his heart. So every time he brushed his teeth in the morning, it'd remind him of just how close. Are you with me? You know, I can't tell you how many threats I've had. You know, and they don't stop. But I don't let them stop me. I let it stop me. And whether the threats are actual or physical violence, some of you may never get those kinds of threats, but regardless of what the threats are, they could be threats to your sense of safety, your sense of security, you know, threats to your marriage, threats to your family, threats to your income, like whatever that is. We are subjected to threats. Are you with me? But we get to determine whether we cower. We get to determine whether we cower or whether we get to say, you know what? I am more than this. I'm more than this. And I'm going to dare to step out and live my life like I'm more. You may not get to eat the fruit from the trees that you plant. Listen to what I'm saying. Because we live in a society that's very me-oriented. Each of us is part of a chain of life. You plant the tree now, you may not eat the fruit. That's not your problem. Listen to what I'm saying. A lot of us think, well, this piece is going to take so long. It's going to take so long. I'll never see it. Who cares if you see it? You do the work anyway to bring it about. Because you're here because of the work other people did. You may not eat your fruit, but you're eating somebody else's fruit. And one day somebody eats your fruit. We keep giving. We keep making a contribution. Don't let fear stop you. You breathe into it. You breathe into it. And after a while, it literally becomes less and less important. It's like I'm afraid, so what? It's just a piece of data. It doesn't even give me information until I give it meaning. And what I can tell you, though, is that a life worth living, a life that's going to get you to the place of a greater sense of connection with the divine, is always going to have you pushing the envelope a little bit. Going deeper in your love, deeper in your forgiveness. Ooh, and that's some scary stuff. Deeper in your creative expression. Deeper in your trust. Deeper in your faith. Deeper in your wholeness. Deeper in your truth. But you never walk alone. You never walk alone. If there's any part of you that's willing to go there, you will feel held. You will feel cradled. You will not confuse being physically by yourself with being alone. You won't confuse that. And just because you're alone doesn't mean you got to be lonely. You won't confuse it with that. We can't get rid of the aches and the pains in life, but suffering is optional. Listen to what I just said. Suffering is optional. We get to determine. Isn't that extraordinary? We get to determine whether we're going to rise above. We get to determine whether we're going to keep holding on to a vision. We get to determine what it is that we allow to define us or not. Isn't that extraordinary? Isn't that extraordinary? This is just the beginning of the month. Courage, in English, the root word comes from the word that means heart. Heart. It's a place of the heart. It's a place of vision. It's a place of daring. It's a place of putting one foot in front of the other. And I love the Spirit letter that says, you don't have to know where you're going to know you're headed in the right direction. You don't have to know where you're going to know you're headed in the right direction. You don't know where this love is going to take you. You don't know where this faith is going to take you. You don't know where this trust is going to take you. You don't know where this prosperity is going to take you. You don't have to know where it leads. You don't have to know the specifics of that. But it's like a little needle compass right in front of us. It says north. North's not like a spot where you hit here. Wow, I reached north. I made it to north. It's not like that. There's the direction of north is a direction that you keep moving in. Are you with me? It's not like, no, okay, God. Woo, I found God right here. Isn't it nice? So the journey's over. No. You keep walking in the direction of that little needle. One foot in front of the other, in front of the other, in front of the other. And if you keep doing that, you'll stop noticing that you are afraid. Isn't that true? Yes. When you're really engaged in the loving, your attention goes more on the loving than the fear. When you're really engaged in the creativity or stepping out there, your energy goes on the creativity, not the fear. Yes? Let's rise above. Let's rise above. Let's pray.